Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 306. Hope everyone is doing great. I'm recording this show from Seoul, South Korea, where I attended the Samsung Unpacked event in person on Wednesday. The company took the wraps off its new foldable devices. So we're going to play an interview with Samsung on the show today, recorded here in Korea. Before that, we're going to chat with SanDisk about USB drives for students. And speaking of back to school, author Stephanie Humphry will be on Tech It Out to share some back to school ideas for students of all ages. And also, Verizon will join us to talk emergency preparedness and deployment in the event of a natural disaster like a hurricane. What are they doing to keep your mobile service working? All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out from the Gangnam District in Seoul, South Korea, powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. I'll tell you more about ASUS shortly, but let's officially kick off this week's show with our first interview. Now that students are getting ready to head back to the classroom, I know, kids, don't roll your eyes. It is a smart time to remind you about the importance of portable storage, not just for backing up files, just in case something happens, but also for easy transferring files between devices. So when you're talking reliable storage, who better to turn to than SanDisk? We're joined on the line by Sai Challa, Senior Product Marketing Manager at SanDisk, a Western digital brand. Welcome back to the show, Sai. Good to chat with you.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Hey, before we talk about back-to-school storage for computers, including Chromebooks, as well as mobile devices like phones and tablets, let's hear a bit about SanDisk and its parent company, Western Digital.
Absolutely. Let me start with Western Digital. So we're one of the leading data storage companies in the world, as you know. We've been in the market for over 50 years now. And from a consumer standpoint, we have products that range from hard drives to solid-state flash drives to USBs and SD cards and everything in between. And consumers will recognize us from brands such as SanDisk, SanDisk Professional, WD, and WD Black.
All right. WD Black is more for gamers, right?
That's
where
right.
You need speed, high performance, that kind of thing. Some are internal, like that can snap inside of a console or a PC. Some are external, which is great. So I love the variety and the versatility of these drives. But I did want to invite you back on. It's been a year, exactly, since we had you on side to talk back to school. So as I mentioned off the top, it's not just about storage or backup, but also for transferring files. Can you talk about how students can leverage storage solutions?
Oh, absolutely. I think, students spend a lot of time. I was a student once too. Spend a lot of time on classwork, and I think that's really important for them that they look for reliable storage to keep their files on. Obviously, we do see cloud becoming a part of the classroom architecture right now, but students definitely do have flash drives and extra hardware storage just to keep a backup of all their files. Sometimes students are collaborating with their friends and with their teammates, and sometimes with their teachers as well. And a flash drive becomes very handy in moving stuff around. And we have different types of flash drives we could talk about. And students also back up their precious files, right?
Imagine working on an essay for days and something happens to your laptop. It gets stolen or it's dropped or, you lose it. If you don't have a backup of that work, you'll be really upset, no doubt. I'm sure it's happened to many of our listeners. They can relate to that. So I use the cloud, of course, because it protects your files from any local threats. You can save your documents somewhere else by uploading it to the cloud. But there is something to be said about offline local storage where you don't have to pay a monthly fee. It's fast. And look, even in my neighborhood here today, Sai, where I live, our internet went down for an hour because they were doing some work on our street, and it's like, great. If I had to rely on the cloud, I wouldn't be able to access my files because the entire internet was down. All right. So you mentioned different kinds of storage. Let's talk USB drives. How have they changed over the years?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously USB drives, we've had USB type A drives, which have almost become legacy now, but a lot of computers have moved on to type C. This is a new type of connector, which is faster than the type A. A lot of the latest smartphones have type C. Apple iPads have moved on to type C. So Apple's getting the type C ecosystem as well. So we have drives ranging from type A, type C, but we also have something called the dual drive, which has both connectors on a single drive so that you could easily use it across these different things I was just talking about. And we can talk about that.
Yeah, I love this product. So it's just so smart. It looks like a little keychain size stick, like the size of your pinky. But on one side, it's USB-A, which is that older, bigger port that you may remember. And then, as you said, the other side is USB-C, which is more common today. It's smaller. It's reversible, so you're not plugging it in upside down by accident at first and it doesn't fit. And it's faster. One side has USB-C, the other side has USB-A. So that must be a popular product.
Absolutely. So we have a few in those options, and I can talk about them. So we have the Ultra Dual Drive Go and Ultra Dual Drive Lux. Those are the two options. And the Go is a plastic drive. It's got multiple colors on it. It starts at less than $10 for a 32 gigabyte drive and goes up to 512 gigabytes on it. So you have enough storage for whatever needs you have.
Yeah.
And then the Lux is the exact same use case, but it's a metal version of the drive. Obviously, anybody looking for ruggedness or durability, metal definitely helps. And we have a 1 terabyte option on the metal drive. So obviously, 1 terabyte in a little thumb-sized drive that you put on your keychain is really good.
Yeah. Again, just to bring everybody up to speed, a terabyte of storage is over 1,000 gigabytes of storage. That's a lot, especially when it comes to documents. I mean, I've been collecting documents since I've been a journalist for 29 years, articles that I've written and research notes and all that. And that is only collectively a gig or so, not even. So we're talking 1,000 times more than that on something the size of your pinky that you can put on a keychain. We are chatting with Sai Challa. He's Senior Product Marketing Manager at SanDisk. We're talking about USB drives for students, USB-A, USB-C. Some are dual drives. It's a USB-C on one side, USB-A on the other. And then Sai, one of the product lines from SanDisk is called iExpand, and that obviously hints at Apple devices like iPhone.
Yes.
So talk to us about that. That's got a lightning connector?
Yeah, good intro. So we spoke about the Android version of the drives earlier, the dual drives, and this is exactly the same use case, but for Apple, like you mentioned before, and they call the iExpand flash drive. So we have similar cousins here, iExpand flash drive Go and iExpand flash drive Lux, two options. And yes, they have a lightning on one side. And so the Go has a type A. Because again, for legacy computers, and the Lux has a Type C. So as Apple got into Type C with their iPads, we said we wanted a newer version of the Go drive, and so we added a Type C and a Lightning. So depending on your use case or your host devices that you have, you could either get the Go or the Lux. One is Type A and one is Type C. Those are the differences.
So I'm holding one in my hands. It is metal. So that must be the Lux. On one end is the Lightning connector with the little white teeth that you would plug underneath your iPhone. And then the other side is USB-C, so I can then easily transfer files between my phone and my tablet or my laptop. When you plug this into an iPhone for the first time, Sai, I love that it pops up to say, hey, do you want to download the SanDisk app? And then when you download that app, you can then, it makes it very easy to view the contents on the drive, select files to copy over to the drive, and then maybe delete off your iPhone if you're running out of storage, and other features like even the ability to play a movie off of the thumb drive on your iPhone without using up any local storage.
Absolutely, that's all true. To add to that, you could also automatically back up. What that means is every time you plug in your drive, you can set up an option on the app so that it kind of pulls off every photo you've taken from the last time you backed it up. So that way, if you ever lose your phone, God forbid, you have all the high-res copies on your flash drive. And so if you want to do that once a week, you got copy backups from the last week you did it.
When you talk students, I think it would be remiss to not acknowledge Chromebooks as an affordable computer solution or option to a Windows or a Mac device. But one of the downsides to Chromebooks, Sai, is the lack of storage. That's one of the issues with them. I understand that SanDisk has a line of storage solutions for Chromebooks specifically.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Chromebooks is big in the student arena right now. They're growing rapidly in the classroom. So we do have, so Chromebooks have super thin profiles. So USB is probably, they do work with Chromebooks, but we have a micro SD solution for Chromebooks. So there is a micro SD slot on your Chromebook. So you could get a micro SD card, the card that goes on your phone, which is called the Ultra Micro SD for Chromebook. And it's tested and certified to work with Chromebook seamlessly. So we work with Google to get that testing done. And you can just plug that little micro SD card. You know how small it is, the thumb size, right?
So it's the size of like your fingernail.
Like so thin and so small. You plug it into your Chromebook and voila, you got about 512 gigabytes. So we have up to 512 gigabytes on it. So you can add all that storage. So for you to now download video files if you want to, you set files, any type of files onto your Chromebook, it just boosts the storage.
Yeah, and it doesn't stick out of the Chromebook because it's
No, it does
micro
not.
SD. It just slips right in. It's super small, but at any time you can pop it out, put it in a little adapter, which I think it comes with, and then you can plug it into a full-size SD card slot, maybe on your computer or on your TV even, to see content.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
very
true.
cool. Before we wrap up, Sai, any tips for students on how to get the most out of using storage?
Absolutely. I think a lot of students do this already, but backing up the data just to keep your copy to copy, right? Sometimes students do get locked out of cloud solutions. It happens to me. It happened to me as well. Always get one of our dual drives if you're collaborating with different teammates that have different types of computers and phones, whatever it is, keeping something that is such a small thing on your keychain so you have extra storage.
And again, without breaking the bank and without having to pay a monthly subscription fee, which I love. So is there a website where we can learn more? Is it simply SanDisk.com?
Yeah, that's the best place. If you ever know a name of a product, just type that in.
Sai, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Speaking of Sai, which is spelled S-A-I, if you're thinking of Sai P-S-Y from Korea, I am speaking to you right now from the Gangnam district of Seoul. Yep, Gangnam Style from 2012. We're going to chat with Samsung this hour about their Unpacked event. Before that, a huge thank you to ASUS for those in search of incredible. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, and that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops. Love those ZenBook laptops myself. You can head over to asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. When we return on Tech It Out, we chat with Verizon about emergency preparedness as we're now into the Atlantic storm season, the hurricane season. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. As a technology journalist, I like to focus on tech that can help people. And with the Atlantic hurricane season officially here, I recently wrote about hurricane preparedness and how technology can help you as well. Verizon has invested in this space, and they're hosting an event today in Florida. Joining us to share the info is Dave Macbeth, Executive Director at Verizon for the wireless network in the state of Florida. Welcome to the show, Dave. Good to chat with you.
Good to be here.
I trust your event's going well today.
It is, and you're missing the robotic dog walking up and down the corridor.
Okay, well, we're going to get to that, a robotic dog. But talk to us about what Verizon is chatting about today at its press event in Florida. What's going on?
Yeah, what we wanted to do was showcase all the work that we do in preparation for hurricanes, especially as the season's upcoming, and also show the level of preparedness and how we build out the network to handle Category 5 hurricanes and how we establish the resiliency that we need in order to serve our customers. So basically walking through a list of things that we do and all the preparation that we do ahead of a hurricane.
So with that in mind, can you elaborate on how technology can help with hurricane preparedness for the tens of millions of people that hurricanes affect in the country?
Yeah, so there's really, I would call it two areas when you think about hurricane preparedness for us on the technology side. So, some of it is more mundane. It's, filling the generator fuel tanks, topping them off, making sure that we've got people in play and all the resources we need, the centers built up, and we practiced our drills, et cetera. But the technology that we're bringing to bear over the last couple of years has morphed quite a bit into being able to deploy assets much more rapidly. They use satellite coverage in order to quickly restore sites and bring voice and text capability much more quickly post-restoration. And we also showed today how we can use a tethered drone. We can put up a couple hundred feet in the air over a site. It's especially notable. We used it recently with Ian across the Sanibel Causeway.
Okay.
And it's tethered. So it gets its power, its resources from the ground, and it can stay up in the air for a long, long time, given the fact that it's powered remotely. So technology is really the use of drones and the use of some of the satellite work where we do bring restoration much more quickly. So
for the drone, and I'm assuming for the satellite as well, we're talking imagery. This is for like eyes in the sky, not for transporting items from one place to another.
No. In this case, the tethered drone is providing literal phone service, cell phone service where a site was knocked out.
Thanks for the clarification. Got it.
A couple hundred customers, right, in a very quick manner. And it's a little bit about how do we serve on day one? Doesn't take us till day 3, for example, to get something going like that. And it can quickly help first responders get communication, et cetera.
Okay, cool. So what you're showing today, I guess, is less about preparedness and more about how technology is deployed in the event of a natural disaster like a hurricane, and what you're doing to make sure people stay connected, which could mean the difference between life and death.
Correct. And we do, as I said, on the mundane side, right? We have a lot of generators and we go through the backup strategies. And also we have a lot of resiliency built. At this particular location in Plant City, we have a switching center that is served by fibers in multiple directions. So we have diversity. We have generators that we exercise regularly in order to make sure we're prepared in terms of a power outage. And also this facility itself is a Category 5 rated facility, so it can handle any storm that comes our way.
We are chatting with Dave Macbeth, Executive Director at Verizon for the wireless network in the state of Florida. They're hosting an event today in Plant City, showcasing some of their emergency preparedness technology and emergency response technologies as well. Let's now hear about this 5G robotic dog, and then we'll end off on a couple of acronyms, SPOT and CCAT, I think. But first, the dog. You've piqued my interest. What's that all about?
So we're always working with new technologies and looking for opportunities to leverage some of those in first responder or emergency situations. So we're working to continue to find ways to use the dog in scenarios where we might not have access, right? Where we can send the robotic dog in to take a look at things and visually gather information. In fact, I was making a joke with the team. I had one of my cell sites the other day, and it was surrounded by water. And they started to go forward to the cell site, and they realized there was a lot of snakes going through the water. I said, well, there's a great case for the robotic dog. We'll send the dog out to take a look at what's going on. So in any kind of scenario, right, where we've got limited access, especially in hurricanes when you don't know what's behind some of the damage that we see.
Great point. Some of the rubble and things like that, you could fall through that. So that's a great use case for something like a robotic dog or a drone for sure. All right. So as we wrap up, Dave, I wanted to ask you about this acronym that I read about from Verizon called SPOT.
So one of the things I mentioned earlier is we use satellite coverage sometimes after a hurricane in order to restore our transport or our backhaul services to our cell sites. And SPOT is a satellite presence on a trailer, right, that we bring out to a site. And it's a small unit that we can actually pull on a car or something simple, right? So we don't have to, have a commercial driver license or anything. And it's a small self-contained unit that has a generator that can provide Wi-Fi coverage to a local area, and we can bring it in very quickly. So we often use it where first responders are setting up a command presence.
I get it.
Or, and we've actually also used it during large events here in Florida where first responders need dedicated coverage inside the cellular field, only because there's so many users, but this SPOT provides dedicated Wi-Fi coverage.
All right. And then finally, where could we learn more about Verizon and your emergency preparedness and response efforts?
Sure, Mark. You can easily go to Verizon.com, type in emergency, and you'll be directed to links that'll take you to a lot of resources that Verizon brings to bear.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Dave. Glad to hear your event went well today. I'm missing out on that 5G robotic dog, but have a great rest of your day and keep up the great work to keep us safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
We chat with Samsung here in Seoul, South Korea, when we return on Tech It Out, all about foldable devices. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. It was a huge week for Samsung as the company held one of its biannual Unpacked events, where the Korean tech giant showcased its latest devices at Unpacked in Seoul, South Korea, focusing heavily on its Z family of foldable and flippable devices. I'm in Seoul for Unpacked, in fact, and we're now joined by Drew Blackard, VP of Mobile Product Development for Samsung Electronics America. Good to chat with you in person, Drew, and congrats on Unpacked. Today's the big day.
Well, we're really excited about it. It's a lot of work goes into not only the event itself, but the lead up to the event and all the work that goes in from the team. So it's exciting to finally get our new products out there, get the responses from fans and consumers. So it's the start of another big process for us, but we're really excited.
Before we talk about specific devices, maybe give us a little bit about what Unpacked is. This is your global unveiling of new devices, correct?
Exactly. I mean, it started really over 10 years ago with the first Galaxy S devices, and it became a launch event where we're unveiling our new products. And over time, those started with just smartphones, and they've become ecosystem events for our whole mobile business. So in this Unpacked, obviously, you'll see smartphones, you'll see tablets, you'll see new watches. So it's really exciting because it helps us tie together really the stories across these product lines, how they work together, different use cases that you can use these devices for. So it's become a really big event for all of mobile.
Yeah. And here in Seoul, which is obviously particularly exciting given that Samsung is headquartered here.
Absolutely. Our first one ever in Seoul, Korea, and it's kind of overdue, in a lot of senses. So it's exciting for it to be here just because I feel like Korea and Samsung are just so intertwined. The Korean culture influences a lot of how we approach things at Samsung, and for it to be an event that's hosted here locally is really exciting, just to bring in people from all over the world to experience the products, but then, see how we operate within Korea as well.
And probably no surprise that the Unpacked event is in COEX, which is part of Gangnam, popularized by the Psy song in 2012 for decadence and style and luxury. And that certainly is, I would say, a common thread among many of the devices we're going to now talk about, beginning with the Galaxy Z Flip 5. Tell us what's new there.
Well, Z Flip, I think, has really found its audience. You mentioned style and fashion. I mean, it's people who are looking for an iconic new type of design. And with foldables, and in particular Flip, we're really seeing kind of users who value showing off their style through personalizing the device, both through the user interface, the kind of the UI UX ability to customize that, as well as the cases and accessories we have. And on top of that, just having kind of that eye-catching, what is that? Design in their pocket. So I think we're really excited about that. I think, from a functional perspective, pocketability, kind of the ability to easily fold up the large screen device and put it in a purse or pocket is really exciting to a lot of people. It's a 6.7 inch display when it's unfolded, which is the size of our S models Plus model. So a really big screen when it's unfolded, but then when you fold it in half, it fits comfortably in your pocket.
Love it. So what's old is new again. This flip design was so popular 20 odd years ago, and now it's got a high-tech twist because it's like one sheet, right? Like one screen on the inside, but then there's that smaller display on the outside that's not so small anymore. The biggest changes, I would say, one is this new outer display or cover display, which I think Samsung has a new name for, as well as a redesigned hinge. Why don't we start with when that clamshell device is closed, what is new on the outside?
Yeah, well, we call it the flex window. And so what you'll see is it's just a much more engaging experience when you have the device closed. And so what we were hearing from our feedback from actual users of the Flip devices was they loved the cover screen, but they would like to have it a little bit more functional so they could actually do some tasks while they were not having to fully open the phone. With flex window, it's about 3 times the screen size that you had before. So you have a full window on that folded in half screen. And the interface itself is much like our watch interface. So if you click it on, you'll have shortcuts to the camera, you'll have a quick view of your calendar, time, things like that.
Personalized widgets. Yeah.
Personalized widgets, exactly. And then you can scroll to the right for more widgets. So we have things like quick contacts where you could quickly make phone calls without even having to open the phone, access to your messages so you could quickly respond to messages and things like that. Down from the top, you could have your settings menu, your quick settings. So whether that's connecting to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or things like that, you can all do that directly from the flex window. From the left, you pull over and it's all your notifications, so you can quickly monitor what notifications and if it's something you want to open your full phone for to respond to. And then lastly, a Samsung Wallet. So mobile payments you can actually initiate and make without ever opening the phone. Just slide up from the bottom, you get your credit card, make a quick payment on the go.
Did you say this flex display or this outer or cover screen is 3 times the size that it was before, but in the same overall form factor.
Exactly. So it's just under 3 times the screen size, and it's actually a smaller form factor. So that's, you mentioned the hinge. One of the things we'll talk about is actually the streamlining of that hinge design makes the device itself about a little over 2 millimeters slimmer in the hand and in the pocket. And I think the other thing I'd add with a flex window is it's an incredible viewfinder for the camera. So we think this is now really the best selfie experience on a smartphone, because your rear camera, which is the more powerful camera, it has, larger pixels, it has optical image stabilization. That can now be your primary selfie camera because the flex window can, effectively be your viewfinder. So all you have to do is click on the power key without having to even open the phone. It'll quickly shortcut into your camera experience, and then you can capture video or photo selfies with the most powerful camera on the device.
Like other Samsung phones, if you don't want to reach for the shutter button to count it down, can you wave and it'll start the countdown like other devices? I love that feature.
Yeah, you sure can. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. It's a new gapless design in both the Flip 5 and the Fold 5, which we'll get to in a moment. So when the clamshell phone is closed, there is no more gap between the 2 screens. It's flush.
Exactly. So this is our 5th generation of foldables, and every year we continue to refine that hinge and try to make it more streamlined. And so what you see is it's our first truly gapless design, as you mentioned. And so what that means is, it's kind of fully uniform in terms of the thickness, whereas in the past, near the hinge, it was actually a larger gap there, as you said. And so that has functional benefits where things in your pocket aren't going to get within the gap itself. There's benefits from a durability perspective, and the entire hinge itself has been redesigned. So more reinforcement across the display, which helps with the durability. And then because of the new design, when you unfold it, the actual folded display is more streamlined and seamless as well.
Let's now pivot and talk about the new Galaxy Z Fold 5. While the Flip 5 is maybe for those who want a smaller form factor to fit that device into a clutch purse or into the back of your jeans pocket, the Fold 5 is perhaps on the other side of the spectrum. Actually, Drew, please let's put a pin in that and tell us about the Fold 5 when we return on Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
We are chatting with Drew Blackard. He is Vice President of Mobile Product Management for Samsung Electronics America. I am with him here in Seoul, South Korea. It is U-Day instead of D-Day, Unpacked. There's 2 a year. One earlier in the year is for the S family, their flagship devices like the S23. This is all about the Z family, the foldable and flippable devices. All right, without further ado, now let's pivot and talk about the Fold 5, the Galaxy Z Fold 5.
Absolutely. So this is like our ultimate productivity device, and in so much as we see our Note user base, who was really super into productivity, transitioning into Fold, and in particular with Fold 5, you get a lot of the benefits that we just talked about with the hinge, right? So it's a 6.2-inch display when it's folded, but unfolds into a 7.6-inch tablet-like experience. And so from that, on the productivity side of the house, you can multitask. You have 2, even 3 apps open at the same time and drag and drop between windows seamlessly. But from the entertainment side, it's an incredible experience both for gaming and video viewing. And
ebooks as well. Reading ebooks is amazing on the Fold family.
Absolutely. I mean, it gives you large format entertainment experience. Even so much as on my flight over here, we were delayed about an hour and a half, and I had my Fold 4 in my pocket, and the British Open was on, and I got to finish watching it on a big screen from the airplane. And then fold it back up and put it in my pocket. So it allows you to kind of take that experience on the go. We see a lot of our core productivity users really transitioning this. So one of the things that we did this year is we have a new S Pen case. So, the S Pen is our kind of stylus or pen implementation where you can actually, whether from, take notes or for more creative purposes like drawing and digital art, there's a lot of incredible use cases, and we've streamlined it into a case that's super seamless. So I think we're we're really excited to see what users do with it on that larger format display.
Did someone say it was slightly lighter?
Yeah, exactly. So, we continue to try to refine based on user feedback of things that our, hardcore users want to see. And one of the things we've heard from our Fold users is they love the screen size, they love the size overall, but making it lighter. So it's about 10 grams lighter versus last generation. So it makes it just, a little easier to hold in the hand, less to feel in the pocket.
We're going to end off talking about what's new in tablets and smartwatches in a moment. But for those who like the Fold 5 form factor for productivity's sake, they can even have a larger screen if they want by connecting it to a computer monitor.
That's right. I mean, DeX is incredible. I was actually talking about this on the way over here with a colleague of mine where I was on vacation a few weeks ago and I brought my work computer because I needed to keep up with email. Go figure, my VPN connectivity wasn't good enough in the place that we were staying at. Sure enough, I used DeX the whole vacation for a full week. And basically, I was able to wirelessly connect over Bluetooth a keyboard and a mouse and connect an HDMI monitor all to my Fold 4 at the time. It'll be Fold 5 the next time I use it. And from that experience, I can drive a desktop-like experience where I have a full kind of Windows-like experience where I can pull up my email and file and see all the side-by-side on a full HDMI monitor.
All powered by the phone.
All powered by the phone. Yeah, exactly. So I can do all of that just on a big screen and kind of have screens side by side. I can review presentations from the team, make edits and notes, send those back all directly from the phone itself.
And use a physical keyboard to write text messages as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And you can have exactly. You've got your kind of you can have email on one window. You can have your text messages on another. You can copy and paste between the two, all just on a big format monitor using a keyboard and mouse.
It sounds so handy. All right, let's end off, please, on the Tab S9 as well as the new Watch 6, I think, or 6 Classic.
Yeah. So, I mean, two incredible new devices, and we're really excited about, the devices themselves. Tab S9 is really our next push into the premium tablet space. So we have 3 devices. There's Tab S9, Tab S9 Plus, and Tab S9 Ultra. All of them have incredible displays. Year over year, you'll see dynamic Super AMOLED. So it's our latest cutting-edge display technology. There's a new reflection-resistant coating on the screen and a vision booster software. So it's just incredible viewing experiences from Samsung, who's known for displays. So it'll be the best overall viewing experience for whatever you want to do on these devices. They also will have brand new processors. So whether it be productivity or gaming and entertainment, they're going to be incredible devices for that. And I think the coolest thing is they're just getting so slim. I think the Ultra is at like 5.5 millimeters. So super slim, fits in a bag. Super easy and lightweight, and it's kind of productivity and entertainment on the go. So on the watches, we have the Watch 6 and the Watch 6 Classic. The Classic returns to the bezel that people love to kind of rotate around and pick and select apps. But the user interface itself is really incredible, and these will be the biggest screens that we've ever had on a watch. So the interface that you have will be easier to get more done from the watch, and there's going to be a big focus on just wellness this go around, because more and more our users are using it to track health and wellness data, and in particular sleep tracking continues to be popular. And so these will have not only integrated coaching on how to sleep track, but we've made even watch bands like our Feather Band, which is super light and feels like you almost don't have a watch on. That makes it easier for wearing it at night and things like that.
And you got FDA approval for is it arrhythmias and other irregular heart rhythms and things like that?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we've got FDA approval for that.
Yeah, congrats. All right, so for pricing, colors and accessories, availability, they should just head over to Samsung.com, and I'm sure it'll be front page for a while. Is that right? And it'll be like sort of highlights from Unpacked.
Exactly. Yeah, go to Samsung.com. You see all of our, at this point, pre-order offers, a lot of incredible deals out there, both from Samsung and our carrier partners, and we're really excited for you to check it out.
Including trade-ins, right?
Including trade-in, absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for your time. This is very exciting to be here, especially here in Seoul for Unpacked. Congrats. This is really great.
All right. Thanks so much.
Stephanie Humphry talks back to school tech when we return. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Check It Out whenever you want.
We're going to chat back to school with Stephanie Humphry in a moment, but first, we do cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online, and so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out. They've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. If you're a student, parent, or teacher, you don't need me to tell you what time of the year it is. But if you want to know what's cool for school this season, Tech Life expert Stephanie Humphry is here with us with a handful of her A-plus ideas. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Mark. I'm happy to be here today. And yeah, I partnered with a couple brands for a handful of cool ideas that you are not going to want to miss this school year.
All right, so why don't we start off with what's new in tablets?
I am really liking this Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE because it is thin, light, and powerful. It's running the latest Windows operating system, and it has that optional 5G connectivity, so you'll be able to multitask from anywhere. The S Pen is included for maximum productivity, including note-taking, and the front-facing camera is automatically going to keep you in frame, so you can be chatting with friends or your school tutor and your face is never going to leave that frame. The huge 12.4-inch HD touchscreen is going to be great for watching content, and it'll let you work through everything you need to do, and it's everything you need at an affordable price.
And speaking of prices, you can head over to inthenews.tv to check out everything Stephanie is talking about, including links and pricing for everything. All right, Stephanie, so once the kids get their homework done, they want to have a little bit of fun after their schoolwork. What do you have for us there? They deserve a little bit of fun, right?
They do, and we all need some downtime. So who doesn't love Sonic? Sonic Origins Plus features 4 classic titles, plus 12 Game Gear titles, and for the first time ever, you get Amy Rose as a playable character in multiple games, and the ability to play as Knuckles in Sonic CD, making this the definitive way to play classic Sonic games. There's also a collectible physical edition featuring a book of classic art, and it's available right now on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. So Sonic runs adults, kids, everybody gets to play Sonic.
All right, Stephanie, next up, creativity. Is there anything out there that you like?
Yeah, new this school year, students are going to love the Crayola Doodle and Draw line of markers and pencils. This is really going to level up their next art project. Kids can choose the doodle marker that they need, like fine point and dual-ended for creating those colorful, bold statements. Ultrafine will help them tackle those intricate details. Color change helps them create beautiful layers of color. And even those sketch and shade doodle pencils will help them as well. And then you don't forget the classics like 24 count crayons. Everybody can use those. And you never know when the inspiration is going to strike your young Picasso. So get some Crayola Doodle and Draw and help that creativity get strike in your next project.
Always been a fan of Crayola, and good to see them keep up with the times. There is something just classic about coloring. Great. So that's on the creativity side. But Stephanie, what about financial literacy? Is there a certain age that you think kids should start learning about managing money in a fun and engaging way?
Well, it is never too early to learn about money, and back to school shopping is an awesome way to teach kids about money and how to manage it. Chase First Banking is a debit card for kids designed with 6 to 12-year-olds in mind. The account is owned by the parent, though, so they can monitor their spending, set limits, track purchases, receive alerts, and more, all through the Chase mobile app. So this becomes the perfect solution for developing good money habits. It gives kids that hands-on experience that they need that's going to help them learn about the money and boost their confidence all at the same time. So great solution to learn about money.
All right, before we wrap up, Stephanie, I know you've authored a book about social media. Please tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, we all know that cancel culture is real right now, and we know that students are especially vulnerable to the psychological effects of social media. So I wrote a book to help. It's called Don't Let Your Digital Footprint Kick You in the Butt, and it was created to empower students with actionable tips, so things they can really do that will transform them into online superstars. I've been out here speaking to students across the country for over 10 years about being a good digital citizen, what that means, and how to create a positive personal brand online. And you can find the book on Amazon. And for everything I've covered today, including the links, you can visit inthenews.tv.
Well, congratulations, Stephanie. And I love the name, by the way. Thank you so much for your time. Stephanie Humphry has been our guest. All the best. Be well.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, that went by fast. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Tech It Out, powered by ASUS. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.